Who actually created Bitcoin? It's one of the great modern mysteries, isn't it? We're talking about an inventor who builds a world-changing technology and then, right as it's starting to take off, just vanishes. So let's dive in. Who was Satoshi Nakamoto? And where on earth did they go? But look, this isn't just some fun thought experiment. Right now, a ghost is sitting on one of the biggest, completely untouched fortunes in the world. We're talking about an estimated 1.1 million Bitcoin. That's a stash worth, what, around $135 billion? And for over a decade, not a single coin has moved. So who is this billion-dollar ghost? Well, our story really kicks off with a single name that popped up online, Satoshi Nakamoto, a name we're now pretty sure is just a mask. And if you look at this timeline, you can see just how deliberate this whole thing was. It all starts in October 2008 with the white paper. Just 3 months later, boom, the network is live. Then, for a couple of years, Satoshi is actively collaborating with other developers. But then, see this? Mid-2010, they start handing over the keys to the kingdom. And then, the final move, April 2011, a simple email saying, "I've moved on to other things." And just like that, poof, they were gone. And if you're wondering why they created it, well, this pretty much says it all. Right there, embedded in the very first block of Bitcoin, was this headline from a British newspaper. Now, this wasn't just a way to timestamp the block. No, this was a mission statement. Satoshi was basically shouting from the rooftops that Bitcoin was born out of the chaos of the 2008 financial crisis, a direct answer to a system that had just spectacularly failed everyone. Ever since Satoshi vanished, this massive, global, almost crowdsourced investigation has been going on. You've got journalists, developers, internet sleuths, all poring over every single digital breadcrumb left behind. So what did they find? Well, the first big clue was hiding in plain sight, the way they wrote. Despite the Japanese name, Satoshi's English wasn't just perfect. It was distinctly British. You can see it right here, with spellings like color and using phrases like bloody hard. This linguistic fingerprint immediately sent the investigation looking away from Japan and straight towards the UK. And it's not just the words, the data backs it up too. One researcher analyzed hundreds of Satoshi's posts, and the pattern is just fascinating. You can see here, the activity peaks during waking hours in the UK or maybe the Americas, but if you map that same activity to Japan, well, it would mean Satoshi was consistently asleep right in the middle of the afternoon. It doesn't add up at all. But maybe the most powerful clue comes from the blockchain itself. A researcher found what's now famously called the Satoshi pattern. It's like a digital fingerprint proving that one single, incredibly powerful miner was there from day one. But here's the amazing part. This miner deliberately held back. They had enough power to completely control the network, but they chose not to give other people a fair chance to participate. That kind of restraint, that's why almost everyone believes this miner has to be Satoshi. Okay, so with all these digital breadcrumbs, who are the usual suspects? The hunt has really zeroed in on a handful of key figures from the early days of cryptography. And really, the lineup is a who's who of the cypherpunk movement. You've got Hal Finney, the very first person to ever receive a Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi, Nick Szabo, who actually created a precursor called BitGold, Adam Back, the inventor of the proof-of-work algorithm that Bitcoin is built on. There was even poor Dorian Nakamoto, who was famously and incorrectly outed by the media. But here's the one thing you need to remember from this slide. Every single one of these plausible candidates has publicly and very clearly denied being Satoshi. But there was one man who didn't deny it. In fact, he very publicly and very aggressively claimed that he was Satoshi. And he took that claim all the way to the UK High Court. So back in 2015, an Australian computer scientist named Craig Wright started telling the world that he was the creator of Bitcoin. And for years, his claims really divided the community and led to a whole mess of lawsuits. But finally, in 2024, it all came to a head in a legal showdown that was meant to settle the question once and for all. And the court's judgment, wow, it was absolutely brutal. As you can see from this quote, the judge found that the evidence Wright presented was based on clumsy forgeries. The ruling said, and I'm quoting here, that Dr. Wright had lied extensively and repeatedly on a grand scale. The verdict couldn't have been more clear. Craig Wright is not Satoshi Nakamoto. And the legal consequences were severe. First, the court completely rejected his claim. Then, when he tried to appeal, that was shot down as being totally without merit.
And finally, in a pretty rare move, the court issued a restraint order, basically banning him from continuing what it called his mendacious campaign of lawsuits. The door was slammed shut, hard.
So if Wright isn't Satoshi, and every other credible candidate says it wasn't them, where does that leave us? Maybe we've been asking the wrong question this whole time. Maybe the real question isn't who Satoshi is, but why the mystery itself is so important.
It's a question a lot of people ask, right? What if Satoshi just showed up again? Could they take control, use their influence to change the rules of Bitcoin? And the answer is a hard, resounding no. And that, right there, is the genius of the whole design. Bitcoin has no CEO, it has no board of directors. Its rules are enforced by thousands and thousands of computers all over the world running the same open source software. Not one single person, not even its creator, can just waltz in and change the network.
So in the end, Satoshi's anonymity isn't some quirky bug, it's Bitcoin's single most important feature. It means there's no single point of failure. It forces everyone to focus on the tech, not a personality. It reinforces that core idea of decentralization. And it protects the creator from any government or corporation that might want to pressure them. Ultimately, Satoshi had to become a ghost so that their creation could be unstoppable. The mystery continues. The real candidates have all denied it, the imposters have been unmasked, and that incredible fortune just sits there, completely untouched. Which leaves us with one final fascinating question to ponder. What would happen to the world and to the markets on the day that billion-dollar ghost finally decides to wake up?